Hi, my name is April M.H. Yeager, and today we're going to be doing a scientific review. It's going to be a PowerPoint presentation about the benefits of transcendental meditation for emotional regulation. Transcendental meditation is very personal to me. It's transformed my life, and it's helped me find a deeper sense of peace and calmness within, especially on those days where every technical problem that can exist exists for your college class presentation. To start off with, let's talk about that transcendental meditation itself. How's it defined? Well, transcendental meditation is a transformational technique. This technique is truly life-changing. It's also referred to as TM, and it is a practice that promotes inner peace and deep relaxation through the repetition of a mantra, and not just any mantra. A mantra that is uniquely given to you at the time of your initiation. Your initiation is between an instructor of transcendental meditation and yourself. Nobody else is there when it's occurring. And then you have some further training in a group. This mantra is secret and private, and it's not to be discussed because they say that it can lose its power. We want to be able to build up that energy inside and create a strong reservoir of energy within ourselves. I think it's very important to understand that this mantra is unique to any other mantra. There are mantras all around the world. The Maha mantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are the chakra seed mantras. There are Om, there are Buddhist mantras, there are Christian mantras, prayers. There are mantras from all around the world, but none of them are quite like the mantras of TM. This paper is really going to do a review of the role of transcendental meditation and how it supports emotional regulation. We'll be discussing things along the line of benefits, potential mechanisms, scientific studies, implications, criticisms, and even future directions, as I really do believe it's quite important for us to have a good direction where we desire our focus for the future to be. And I'm not just talking about transcendental meditation, I am talking about the whole bigger picture. A picture of peace, a picture of unity, a picture of love and radical acceptance and unconditional compassion. For us to accomplish this, we need a tool that anybody can access, that's simple, that's effective, and that is something that's going to really help transform somebody from the inside out. I really wanted to learn more about transcendental meditation, and I couldn't find a definitional line that really felt like it explained it well enough for me. So I talked to somebody at the official Transcendental Meditation Center. Her name is Aaliyah, and she said, quoted, "The Transcendental Meditation technique is an effortless, natural, and simple mental technique taught by the individual instructor to an individual student, practiced for about 20 minutes twice a day, in the morning and early evening, while sitting comfortably with your eyes closed. Learning and doing this simple technique is effortless, and it provides many benefits. It's notably the most important or recognized is the reduction of stress and increased peace and wellness." Understanding the definition of transcendental meditation is important, but we also need to understand the definition of emotional regulation. Now, emotional regulation is key, and for so many reasons in our life, it's not just important for us to be able to have access to our emotions and express our emotions, but in this world now, particularly now more than ever, we really need to make sure that we can express our emotions in a way that's appropriate, feel our emotions, and talk to ourselves in a way that's appropriate. Emotional regulation is defined as the following: a mental and psychological process of effectively managing and modulating one's emotions to adapt to different situations. It involves cognitive, behavioral, psychological processes that enable individuals to recognize, understand, and regulate their emotions. There are many important aspects of emotional regulation, and here are a few that I think are the most important: emotional awareness, understanding, and then being able to properly analyze that understanding of your emotions without allowing your emotions to actually interfere with that understanding. Acceptance, and I'm talking deep, radical acceptance of ourselves, of our emotions, of where we've been and where we're now, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's truly important to accept. It's only through acceptance are we able to actually transform our lives. And then also the ability to modulate and express your emotions in a socially appropriate manner. I think it's essential for you to be able to, no matter what hardships you face in life, be able to truly just go into yourself and feel what you need to feel, appropriately express it, and appropriately have that feedback loop within yourself to understand why you felt the way you felt, and then realize, okay, maybe I'm a little too frustrated right now. Maybe I feel too stressed. Maybe I'm getting angry. What can I do to modulate and change my emotions so that I feel more stable, more balanced, more centered? There are many benefits of transcendental meditation, and this little video is not going to be long enough to be able to cover them all, but I wanted to cover the ones that are most scientifically researched. There are many physical health benefits that are scientifically researched about transcendental meditation, most notably improved cardiovascular health and dropping of the blood pressure. Transcendental meditation also can help reduce stress and anxiety, which will promote mental health benefits, improve emotional well-being, and overall enhances your just overall state of just feeling good within yourself, feeling good in your body, in your mind, and your spirit. Transcendental meditation also enhances self-awareness. It helps to increase concentration and focus and allows you to be able to be more independent when working. It increases brain coherence. It deepens that sense of connection with self, with spirit, with God, the universe, the collective consciousness, the unified field, that pure consciousness, love. And also nature. It increases your connection to nature. At the same time, decreasing symptoms of depression, anxiety, and even PTSD. And giving you a good night's sleep while doing it all, which who doesn't need a good night's sleep? Now, we can't go over all of these benefits in too much detail, but decreased anxiety, depression, cortisol, and insomnia, and increased self-awareness, brain coherence, prefrontal cortex activity, and mindfulness are all pretty well studied quite a lot because of the benefits of transcendental meditation are so profound in these areas. Now, who doesn't want increased brain coherence, increased mindfulness, and self-awareness? So many people these days are walking around just extremely lost, and they're not aware of themselves. They're not aware of the situation that they're in half the time, and they don't have that true brain coherence that allows them to flourish and prosper and thrive, instead of just striving, instead of just making ends meet, making it through the day, getting through the week. So many people are just trying to survive. Well, why not thrive? And with Transcendental Meditation, that's what you're going to get. You're going to be able to have full access to your potential so that you can truly thrive. Now, there are many scientific studies that go into Transcendental Meditation, and there's so many benefits that come out of these studies. We're going to talk about a few today: stress, depression, anxiety, PTSD, and mental health. Now, there is a study from involving healthcare workers. It was a randomized clinical trial, and it specifically was talking about the efficacy of Transcendental Meditation to reduce stress among the healthcare workers. Another study that we'll be diving into is talking about Transcendental Meditation's ability to help reduce depressive symptoms and blood pressure with people who are suffering from cardiovascular diseases. Now, that was a systematic review of a meta-analysis of many different types of studies. There are numerous studies on anxiety, and particularly trait anxiety, and Transcendental Meditation's effects on the decretion of anxiety. This can also happen from the decreation in the cortisol. That's just a byproduct. One very interesting study is a pilot randomized controlled trial with veterans, specifically focusing on post-traumatic stress disorder and how Transcendental Meditation may affect the symptoms and potentially be part of or a treatment plan for PTSD. And of course, we can't forget to talk about mental health, and there's a great before and after study specifically on the effects of Transcendental Meditations and mental health. As we know, it improves overall mental health. So there are many different studies that we'll be diving into, but I really want to focus on these few. And one thing that I find is very interesting is the amount of independent studies done. Stanford University actually did a meta-analysis of 146 different studies, which showed Transcendental Meditation is highly effective in reducing anxiety, and comparably more effective in reducing anxiety, specifically trait anxiety, than other types of meditation techniques. Now, I personally am a meditation teacher, and I'm very familiar with many different types of meditation techniques, but I do find that Transcendental Meditation is very profoundly affecting me in a more noticeable way than other meditation techniques. A very noticeable effect of Transcendental Meditation is the reduction of cortisol. Now, most people who are walking around this world completely hyped up on cortisol. A lot of people are stuck in fight and flight. They have overdriven sympathetic nervous systems, and they're just constantly in a state of anxiety or stress. Now, cortisol is good. It has many benefits in the body. It can help reduce inflammation. It can, move you out of the way if there is a car about to hit you. It's good for activities. It's good for our arousal. It's wonderful for exercise. But when we get stuck in this loop of fight or flight, and our cortisol just keeps hiking up and it has trouble dropping, we do not function well. Our parasympathetic system which is our rest and digest, is under driven, which then really causes us to always feel a little frantic and not be able to truly relax, even in relaxing situations. Try to watch a movie if you have too high cortisol. What I find interesting is I have fibromyalgia, and one of the downsides to fibromyalgia is that your HPA axis, the hypothalamus and adrenal axis, actually has trouble keeping those cortisol levels down. So people with fibromyalgia tend to have heightened levels of cortisol. So I'm really interested in seeing a study in fibromyalgia and TM just to see if that cortisol reduction really decreases the symptoms of fibromyalgia. And what's very interesting is some of the studies are showing it's actually reducing blood plasma cortisol levels by about 30%. Like, that is really transformational right there. It's also important to note that there are scientific research papers really describing transcendental meditation's effect on emotional regulation, which that's what this entire presentation's about. Emotional regulation and how it's so key, fundamentally key, as a part of healthy mental health and overall well-being. And transcendental meditation has been proven to have potential benefits in enhancing emotional regulation. How wonderful. There's also suggestions that saying that it can reduce anxiety, improve mood, and promote overall emotional well-being. Who, again, doesn't need improved mood and enhanced emotional well-being? There's also a study about the Cochrane Review that includes TM. It's comparing TM to other therapies, like other relaxation and meditation techniques, specifically highlighting its effects on anxiety disorders. Now, talking again about the sympathetic system and cortisol and feeling overly stressed, overly anxious, we need more things that can help ground people, center people, and bring them to that state of inner stillness. Transcendental meditation has been notably more effective than other techniques, especially other meditation and relaxation techniques, at helping people feel less anxious. It's also very important to state just how much it can help people who suffer from emotional dysregulation. Now, when somebody is emotionally dysregulated, they are all over the place. They might get triggered or offended at every little thing. They have trouble really understanding how they feel half the time. And sometimes they just can't accept how they feel. And they either try to escape it, sometimes leading to things like addictions or depression or anxiety, or they just kind of become a little ball of chaos in their own lives. And not only does that emotional dysregulation affect them and their mental health, it also affects their physical health and then the people they surround themselves with. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's not emotionally regulated. You can't really trust people who are like that. It's not their fault. It's just you can't trust somebody who can't trust themselves. And if you're not able to regulate your emotions, it's really hard to trust yourself. Now, going back to Stanford, and the 146 independent studies found that TM technique, transcendental meditation technique, is twice as effective in reducing anxiety when compared to other meditation techniques. Like, how profound is that? I have practiced meditation for many, many years. And yes, I will say there have been times I've reached the same state as transcendental meditation. But TM takes you there just like almost within like half of that 20 minutes. Once you reach around that 10-15 minute mark, you're pretty much just out in that pure consciousness, floating in the unified field, and timeless, spaceless, thoughtless, just pure consciousness. Well, who doesn't want to just really expose themselves to that pure consciousness more and more? I know I do. And I also know people who have ADHD do as well. Because there's a 2011 pilot study that shows students diagnosed with ADHD showed improvements in the ability to focus, concentrate, and the capacity for independent work within only 3 to 6 months. Now, what else out there can help you have more focus and concentration and improve your organizational skills and the capacity for independent work within just 3 to 6 months? Most medications aren't going to do that, not without side effects. I haven't found too many other mental techniques that can actually do it in that amount of time either. It's all about repetition. It's all about that dynamic activity and then that inner deep stillness through TM and going back and forth like the yellow cloth. You know, you're dyeing the yellow cloth and then you are letting it dry out in the sun. You're dyeing it. You're giving it that dynamic activity and rinsing it out and then letting it dry out in the sun in the stillness, that stillness of pure consciousness. It's also extremely important to talk about its profound effects on PTSD. Now, PTSD is something I also suffer with from extreme childhood trauma, and I've not really found anything that can really help combat it. I mean, there are definitely techniques that have helped reduce it, but Transcendental meditation has shown that 50% of the veterans no longer even met the criteria for having post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, 10% of the control group also met that criteria, did not meet that criteria, but 50% compared to 10%, that's quite a lot. And the placebo effect has the potential to do quite a lot, but that's a big difference. That's a 40% difference. And overall, I have really noticed the effects in my personal life. I'm having less PTSD flashbacks. I feel more calm and still inside. And I'm not having as many anxiety attacks and panic attacks. It's actually reduced quite a lot. I'm not going to say that some technical difficulties with this project and pushed me a little bit towards that, but practicing TM along the way of accomplishing not just this project, but many projects, helped cut down my frustration and my anxiety. I think it's really important to just understand that TM, Transcendental Meditation, can have a profound effect on our life in many different areas. It's so just amazing that a technique like this even exists. Something that can effectively reduce anxiety, improve mood, and promote overall well-being. It can help regulate the emotions and bring us to that sense of stillness within. It's also very important to note that Transcendental meditation is highly accessible to people all around the world. My only real criticism would be that it become more accessible mainly to people in poverty. I grew up in poverty, and technically I would still qualify in that low income group. And I know a lot of people in my life who really want to go through the Transcendental meditation process, but they just can't afford to. I would love to see it become more affordable for everyone. I would also love to see TM be studied with children, with people with fibromyalgia, with the elderly, with pregnant women, with people who have body dysmorphia. I would like to see it studied with people with Parkinson's or MS. I would also like to see it studied with people who have no previous meditation experience. I think that it's really important to get more and more research out there, and the more science behind Transcendental meditation and its benefits, the more that we can actually help heal our world. One study at a time. One person practicing at a time. I mean, there's something called the Maharishi effect, and the Maharishi effect shows that 1% of a community can be practicing transcendental meditation simultaneously, and it can actually affect the overall well-being of the community, the frequencies and vibrations of the community, and even decrease crime. We need to get the whole world practicing transcendental meditation. And I believe that it's possible. I honestly believe that one day a kindergartner will go to school and practice transcendental meditation at the very beginning before they even go into their coursework. And somebody in the prison system will be practicing transcendental meditation to help them with the rehabilitation process. Somebody suffering from addictions will practice transcendental meditation to help them overcome the withdrawal state and the anxiety and the cravings and the trauma that comes with that. People who've been abducted into human or sex trafficking, and during their recovery can practice transcendental meditation to really help them go within themselves and heal from that deep trauma and the PTSD that comes with those situations. Life is hard, but transcendental meditation can help it be a little easier. It is, after all, one of the very few techniques that can be applied with any type of treatment. It's highly accessible, it's non-invasive, and it can be integrated in therapeutic settings and existing treatment protocols. I think that if we really dig deep in our system as a society, and we create transcendental meditation as the framework, the netting that allows us to have conscious-based education, that allows us to have conscious-based medical care, that allows us to have conscious-based social working, conscious-based even art and music, and then we can really start to prosper, and I bet we'd get some pretty great inventions out of it as well. I really enjoyed this process of learning more and more about transcendental meditation, and I just want to thank you for getting me on this journey and understanding transcendental meditation on a deeper level, because we could all use more stillness, restfulness, self-awareness, less anxiety, less depression, less insomnia, and we can all use time, that unified field of pure consciousness, so that we can find that deep, quiet place within where our mind, body, and spirit can feel rest and transform into our highest potential. Thank you. I hope you have a very beautiful day. Now it's time to go meditate.